Light on, light off, light on. Hey, so I'm making this video to answer a specific question. I'll probably keep it short and pretty much just answer that question unless there are any other questions. That's why I love doing live videos, because you can ask me a question and it kind of helps to keep things going. It's more like a conversation rather than me just talking to myself for half an hour. That's always awkward. So, hold on. Happy Sunday. It's Sunday, right? You know, when you get on a video, you start to realize how weird you are. Like, how I hold mugs. Like, oh, that's not interactive. My big old hands. Does anyone actually hold a mug like this? Like, I can't. I don't feel safe. Also, I've only had coffee this morning. I haven't eaten yet. So if you watch and I hold it like this, it's just, my hands are shaking. It's not good. Not good. Okay, so let me put this right here. The question that I was asked is about oily skin and what foundation to use. So I'm gonna turn my music down. Whatever, I turn it back up. So let me start by saying that if you have oily skin, then really any skin, what you do before you even put on foundation matters. So you should be actually moisturizing. I think a lot of people with oily skin avoid moisturizing because they just think it's going to make their skin more oily. I did for a long time and I regret that. I hope that it doesn't catch up with me as I age. So right now I use this Neutrogena Hydro Boost. And this has hyaluronic acid. It says for sensitive skin. I find it to be like really soothing and nice, but you can really use whatever whatever cleanser you like. Cleansers are not the most important thing. I mean, it's important, but it's like not the most important thing. You should maybe also tone afterwards, because that balances your pH again, and then moisturize. Don't not moisturize just because you have oily skin. I use an oil-free moisturizer. This is just Target brand. It's basically the same thing as the Neutrogena one, but a little bit cheaper. So that's why I buy the Target brand one. So just make sure you're getting an oil-free moisturizer. I wonder if I could turn my light off. Yeah, I'll keep my light off. It's really bright, so. Just make sure you're using oil-free, and you should be good. If you don't moisturize by leaving your skin too dry, you'll end up overproducing oil and your skin will get oilier in the end anyway. So then I apply a primer before foundation. This one is Smashbox Photo Finish. It's pretty good for oily skin. You can find ones that are specifically matte, that are definitely stronger than this, but I find this one to be pretty good. So matte is what you want to look for, like matte finish. That's the word that they will use when they mean, like that you don't get the glowy look. And you can add a little glow in with highlighter, but when you have oily skin, you don't really want to put on products everywhere that are going to give you a glow. So I would suggest this primer, or any primer that says matte finish, or like for oily skin. I for some reason cannot think of one right now, but I know there are many because I've used like all of them. Do I have another one? Okay, here's an example of one you shouldn't use if you have oily skin. This is Laura Mercier. It says Radiant Foundation Primer. If it says radiant, it basically means glowy. And when you have oily skin, you've got enough glow naturally that you don't really need to put something that's going to make you radiant all over. So avoid something that says radiant. You want things that say matte. M-A-T-T-E. This one is not matte either. It just says get poreless. And then this one is like super, it's illuminating. That's another word you would want to avoid when it comes to primers if you have oily skin. Illuminating. That's going to be like more shine and glow. So after you prime with a matte primer, you will put on foundation, and my favorite foundation is this one for oily skin. It's matte, it's Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Right there, it says matte and poreless. There is the one that's very similar to this, that is glowier, but this one is the matte one. So you want to make sure that you look right here and see if it says matte and poreless, or if it says, I forget what the other one says, but it should say matte and poreless. You can tell I really like this foundation because I have it in 4 colors for all the different times of year when I'm all different colors. So this foundation is kind of, it's like extra liquidy. So I prefer to put it on a flat, non-porous surface. Like I use a little palette. You can use a metal palette, a mirror, the back of your hand, although that's not poreless. You can't really put this like directly on your face. It will just drip all over. So I like to put it on a flat, non-porous surface. And first I apply it with a stippling brush. So where's that brush? With this foundation, I like to use this brush. It's from e.l.f. It's just a stippling brush. It has these like bristles of a couple different lengths, and you use it to just like spread evenly. Stippling is when you go like this. So at first I normally, I take some off of here, I go like this, and I just stipple all over, and I get like a nice even distribution. And then I'll start to like kind of swirl it, and then you'll see some texture because the stippling brush leaves texture, especially with this foundation. With some foundations you don't get that, like a creamier one. So after that I use a wet beauty blender, always wet, and I go over my whole face, like just like dot 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 dot. Squish, 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 squish. I don't know what you call that. Blotting? Anyway, so I go over my whole face with a beauty blender at the end because I want it to have a skin kind of texture. I want to take away all the brush marks left from the stippling brush. I just find that this foundation is too liquidy to use without the brush first. It's, it just gets like kind of absorbed by this guy if I use this right away. And then after that, I would use Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. Loose powders are so much better because when you use like a packed powder and a compact, sometimes those are sort of like come out too heavy. These are lighter. So I just like put a little bit in my, I shake a little bit out into my lid, and then I take a brush. Like this one would be a good one. You want a big fluffy brush, put it all over. I mostly focus in the T-zone, like so my forehead and down the middle. That's really where I get oily. If you feel like you need it all over, do it all over. And then when you do blush and bronzer, anything like that, contour, make sure you're not using shiny ones. This is a matte blush right here. Some blushes have like little flecks of sparkle and shimmer in them, and you just don't want to put shimmer where you don't want it when you have oily skin, because you're gonna have like a natural glow anyway. You need to be really careful about where you put that glow. This is also a matte contour that I use. This one's from Sephora. And then if you get a bronzer, be really careful with it. Most bronzers have shimmer in them. I feel like it's honestly nearly impossible to find a bronzer without shimmer. This one has like quite a bit of shimmer. You don't want to put this like in the middle of your forehead. If you have oily skin, you kind of want to keep if you have a shimmery bronzer that you're using, you want to keep it like on the side, sort of where you'd contour. You don't want it like on your nose. It's just, you don't want to add extra shimmer where you don't want it. But you do sometimes want to add a little glow. So in that case, I use a highlighter. Let me find mine. Where's my highlighter? Oh, my dog's barking. So I use the Becca Cosmetics highlighter. This one's pretty intense. If you're not used to highlighters, you might want to start with something a little more subtle. Like the Hourglass one is super subtle. You can see my hands are shaking because I only had coffee this morning. Okay. So I put my highlighter just right here, and then sometimes right in the corners of my eyes. That's it. Some people will put highlighter here or down their nose or on their forehead. If you have oily skin, I suggest not doing that. You're just gonna kind of hate the pictures. At least if I've ever done that, I've hated every picture I've seen. You know, if I put a little highlighter right here, they say it makes your nose look or your lips look bigger. To me, it just makes me look like sweaty and oily. So I just put a little bit on the top of this cheek, a little bit on top of that cheek, sometimes right in the corner of my eye, and that's it. Then you need to finish with a spray. Right now, I'm using Wet n Wild Natural. It says natural. So this is not matte. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this on my face while I'm at it. This one may not be ideal for oily skin because it's a natural finish, but if you've already done all those things, it's okay to maybe go ahead and use a, something that maybe gives you a little radiance. But if you're really concerned about oily skin, like in the summer, I use Urban Decay. I think it's called All Nighter, whichever one is supposed to be for matte finishes and for like oily skin. I think it's called All Nighter. If you go to Sephora or you go to Ulta and you say you want the Urban Decay setting spray, they will direct you to it. Ask them which one is for matte skin. I believe it's All Nighter. Take a look at the bottle. And I think there's one that says like Oil Shine Control. I believe that one is called All Nighter. So that is it. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to answer them. And thanks for watching. Bye.